Hello friends, welcome to Cloud Pedagogy. So from the previous lab, you could access the application from a singular DNS name using the application load balancer. The next thing that I want to do is get everything ready for scaling. In this lab, we will be optimizing our student directory application by using Amazon EC2 auto scaling and verify the ALB traffic as well. So let's get started with the task. In the first task, we will create the launch template. In the task 2, we will create SNS topic and subscription. In task 3, create auto scaling group. In the task 4, we will test the application. In the final task, we will delete all the resources that are created for this exercise. So let's get going with the first task. Create the launch template. To scale horizontally, you first create a launch template to specify your instance configuration. In this task, we will use auto scaling to create a launch template. In the EC2 console page, on the left side menu here, under the instances, there is a selection for launch templates. I am going to go ahead and select that. And because I don't currently have any launch templates created, I will go ahead and click create launch template. My name for this will be SP student template and enter description like a web server for the student directory application or something like that. Here I just give the version as description. From there, for auto scaling guidance, I want to select this because I'm specifically going to be focusing on EC2 auto scaling. And then I want to scroll down and select the components that are necessary for me to launch my instances. What the launch template does is just it tells the auto scaling what it is that I want to launch. So what instances, how to configure those instances and all of the details that you would use if you are manually launching instances. So what I can do here is, since I do have instances already running, I can select currently in use. And that will bring up what I'm currently running. And because my account only has one instance currently running, it will pull the information for that instance. For my instance type, I want to select T2 micro because that is the instance type that I want to scale. And it's free tier eligible as well. So that will keep those costs down for the little exercise. For my key, I'll just keep selecting the same keys that I have been. And then for my network settings, I want to make sure that I select the security group that I created specifically for this. After I have done that, I'm going to go ahead and scroll down to my advanced details and expand that. And the two main things that I want to do here are, I want to make sure that my instance profile is utilizing the role that I have set up for access to other resources. And then I want to make sure that I add my user data in order to install and configure the application that I am using. So to do that, I'll go ahead and paste the user data in here. At the same time, I just need to make sure that I change the necessary components so that I'm working with the same resources. So I'll change my bucket to the bucket that I have created for this application, and I'll change my region to US East 1 for the North Virginia region. So once I have done that, I can create my launch template. And as you can see, my launch template has been successfully created. And if I go over the view launch templates, I can see the newly created launch template. Good job. You have done the task 1 successfully by creating the launching template. In task 2, we will create SNS topic and subscription. Open the Amazon SNS console. On the topics page, choose create topic. Enter a name for the topic and description. Leave the rest as default and choose create topic. To receive message published to a topic, you must subscribe an endpoint to the topic. So let's do that. In the left navigation pane, choose subscriptions. On the subscriptions page, choose create subscription. On the create subscription page, in the details section, select the topic name you just created. For the protocol, choose an end type such as an email in our case. For endpoint, enter the endpoint value such as an email address. Choose create subscription. The console creates the subscription and open the subscriptions details page. Make sure you confirm the subscription in your mailbox to start receiving notification mails. So let's do that. Good work. You have done creating SNS topic and subscription as well to receive the notification mails. In the task 3, we will create auto-scaling group. You will launch the template to create an auto-scaling group. You will specify a minimum of 2, maximum of 4 and a desired capacity of 2 instances. You will also configure your auto-scaling group to use the application load balancer you created. You can also configure your auto-scaling group to scale based off of CloudWatch alarms as well. So to do that, I am going to scroll down in the left-hand navigation pane. Under the auto-scaling, I am going to select auto-scaling groups. I don't currently have any auto-scaling groups, so I will click Create Auto-Scaling Group. The name for this group will be SP Student ASG. And because I have created a launch template, I can go ahead and select the launch template that was created specifically for this group. Once that has been selected, I can go ahead and select Next. And this is where I get to choose various launch options. So in this case, I want to make sure that I'm launching into my student app VPC, and then I want to launch these instances into my public subnets. Here I have all public subnets, so select all or few at your choice. With those selected, I can go ahead and select Next. And now I am in my advanced options. The reason that this is important is because for one, I have created a load balancer and I need to make sure that this auto-scaling group is utilizing the load balancer. So what I can do is attach to an existing load balancer. And then I can choose my load balancer from my load balancer target group. From here, I can just drop this down and select CP Student TG. And then for my health checks, I will just have the load balancer handle the health checks. Since those have already been set up, turn on the checkbox. After that, I will click Next. And here is where I can decide how large and how small I want my group of instances or my fleet of instances to be. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change my desired capacity to 2. I also want my minimum capacity to be 2. And then I want my maximum capacity to be 4. This will mean that my auto-scaling group will launch with 2 instances and then it will never get smaller than 2 instances. So if one of those 2 instances is deemed unhealthy, it will launch an instance to replace that. If there is a load on the load balancer and a load on the instances, then the maximum size that my fleet will be is 4 instances. And so that's what this group size is establishing. After that, I want to make sure that for my auto scaling policies, I choose a target scaling policy. And for this target scaling policy, I can change my target value for my average CPU utilization to be 60, and I'll keep 300 seconds of warm up as default. And that's just going to make sure that if I scale, the scaling is going to be based on my average CPU utilization across my fleet. And if that hits or goes above 60%, then it will launch new instances. but it will give those instances 300 seconds or 5 minutes to warm up and start passing their health checks before it does another scaling action. So now that's done, I can go ahead and click next. And for notification, click add notifications. Here you could add a notification and make that notification an SNS topic and utilize your email address so that you can be notified anytime a scaling action is taken. So select the SNS topic that you have created on task 3. Click next. Just quickly review that everything is where I want it before creating my auto-scaling group. So now that my auto-scaling group has been created, I needed to get everything to be desired capacity. And once that is there, I can test and make sure that my application is still accessible, and then I can test scaling too. Good work! You have completed the task 3 to create the auto-scaling group. In the task 4, we will test the application with our configurations. So before I test my application, what I want to do is go back to the EC2 console and then under load balancing, near the bottom of left hand menu, I want to hit target groups. The reason I am doing this is that I want to make sure that before I start testing anything, that everything is running and it is healthy. If I want to keep an eye on it, what I can do is click targets. And then as you can see, the auto-scaling group has launched 2 additional instances, one in each availability zone. In those, some are currently healthy and few are unhealthy. Let's troubleshoot why the targets are unhealthy. Okay, I got it. My auto-scaling is kept under 4 availability zones, but my application load balancer is assigned to only 2 availability zones. Let me fix this by adding more availability zones to my application load balancer. Go to load balancers. Under network, click edit subnets. And select all the subnets and save changes. Let's check the target instance's health. It's good. All of my targets are having status healthy. So that means that my application is up and running and I have multiple instances now that will be utilized whenever requests are made. And so if one were to become unhealthy or go down for any reason, I have the other instances there to still answer those requests. To test my application and the scaling of the application, what I'm going to do is go back to the application page that I have opened. So what I'll do is append /info to the end of my URL, and that will take me to the page that allows me to handle some tooling. One of the things I can do is I can refresh this page and it as you can see it will go between the various instances that I have running and the availability zones that those instances are running in. So refreshing this will show that it's changing the instances and changing the availability zones that are being hit. But what I want to do to test this is utilize this stress CPU built-in test here. You can stress the CPU for 5 or 10 minutes. So this is going to allow me to stress my CPU to get it above 60% threshold and launch new instances. And then I'm going to periodically refresh this to see when new instances are being added when they are healthy. So I'm going to give that some minutes and I wait for those to launch. So now that I have given some time, I'm going to just see if some new instances have been launched. I'm going to go over to instances, and as you can see, 2 more instances have been launched in response to the scaling action that is happening because of the CPU stress that we initiated. So these instances will be launched and they will be added to the group of instances that are part of the entire fleet. After testing all scenarios, you can retest your application in different ways, like keep the application idle for a while. After low user traffic, it automatically stops EC2 instances. Make sure you check them in EC2 on the target group console page. It means that your autoscaling group is down by the instances. Next, you can stress the CPU. It can be helpful to check the scale-up process of autoscaling. For that, what you can do is append /info for the ELB DNS name and click on the minutes link next to the stress CPU section. Then check the target group health and number of instances that are created. Next, check the ELB for the traffic. You can verify the /info page and your page should show the data between the various instances that you are running and their availability zones. Check the instance ID and availability zone on every refresh of the page. Finally, for every action that happens behind autoscaling, you get a notification in your mailbox. So don't forget to cross-verify them. Good job. You have completed the task 4 by testing the application that are using EC2 scaling or not. In the task 5, we will delete all the resources. When you are working in any cloud provider, please remember that you delete any resources you created in your account. For this lab, we have created so many resources in AWS account. So make sure that you delete all those resources to avoid incurring charges. Congratulations, you have successfully completed the lab by implementing the autoscaling in our student directory application. I hope you enjoyed the lab and were helpful to you. And I'll see you again in another session. Until then, take care.